Happy Friday, everyone. I hope you've had a productive last week and have had the opportunity to digest those first 4 items on our prioritization of your long-term retirement savings. This week, we're going to focus on items 5 through 9. So just that quick recap from last week. We touched on our emergency savings. We got that HSA started if we had the ability to do so. We started putting money into the 401k plan or made sure we are at least participating in our defined contribution plan to the level of getting the full employment match. And we started tackling the debt, 6.25% or higher, to make sure that that doesn't eat up our ability to put dollars away long term. From here, we're going to move to the next steps, and that starts with additional savings into your HSA or defined contribution plan. So maxing out that HSA if that's a vehicle that you're utilizing, because again, we talked about the wonderful tax-free income that can be utilized off that long term. And then those additional defined contribution savings. That's where we're looking at maxing out your 401k, increasing the dollars that you're putting into your 401k. Because as we know, compound interest is a wonderful tool long-term to get you where you want to go from a retirement readiness perspective. And that's where we move to the top line. Once all of this is established, and we have a lot of you have clients who have said, hey, I'm doing all of this, what else should I be doing? Or for those of you who are maybe just starting, it's like, great, I think I can organize these first 6 steps pretty easily, then what? This is when we get to those top lines. So number 7 is pay down that lower interest rate debt. So dollars under 6.25%. Now again, there's different philosophies to look at here, and it's not a one size fits all. This is where you want to talk with, whether it's a financial advisor like ourselves or maybe do some research. But I always look at paying off all debt besides your primary mortgage isn't a bad idea, because even debt under 6.25% is still eating into long-term your ability to put more dollars away or get yourself to a place where you can retire, hopefully with no debt on the books. So my rule of thumb is when you get to that number 7 box, focus on anything that isn't your primary mortgage. And then if you've ever sat down with me, you'll hear me talk a lot about math and emotion. Because even if you have a very low fixed rate mortgage, it really comes down to what makes you sleep best at night. For some people, if they have a mortgage under, let's say, 4%, they know that by investing those extra dollars as opposed to paying off that mortgage, you should be able to outperform that 4% debt load by putting those dollars into the market long term. Others tell me, Jake, I get the math side of it, but I'm telling you, I don't sleep well at night knowing that I have that debt on my balance sheet and I want to eliminate that as quickly as possible. Well, that's when you can consider maybe just paying off that low interest rate debt, even the primary mortgage, as quickly as possible. And that leads us to the top lines, 8 and 9. Now, I'm not going to focus on 8 today. That would be for another conversation. But for most people, that taxable account, number 9, or what we call the brokerage account, is kind of that final step once you've established all of these other buckets. Because if you've done 1 through 7 effectively, then for most people, what they end up doing is starting to accumulate more cash if there's dollars left over to be had. It's a good problem to have, but it's still a problem because we don't want to accumulate too much cash in the savings account long term. That's when you can look at things like individual brokerage accounts or joint accounts, maybe with a spouse, where you're putting those dollars away outside of your IRAs and your 401ks, which have more liquidity, which can be utilized if you want to, both for retirement and pre-retirement as necessary. Now, just a quick recap. When we look at financial organization as part of kind of our spring cleaning of your finances, there isn't one way to do it. This is just a great checklist to get you thinking through things from the perspective of where should I start, or maybe what areas of the financial life should I be cleaning up. That being said, we want to hear from you. This isn't a one-size-fits-all type of activity, and there's a lot of pieces that go into this that are very individual to your specific situation. As always, Reach out if you have questions, and I hope everybody has a great weekend.